Welcome to Switch It Up. Today's video could be one of our most, I wouldn't say controversial videos.
I'd hope not.
But I will say that in RV living, it may be some of the most important things to talk about in the status of the world and in the status of like storms and all of the chaos that's happening. And I don't believe some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video, I have never seen in any other video for RV life. Woo-hoo, that's a good one. That's a good tease. That's a good one. We're going to roll the intro and buckle up because this could get fun.
A man and a woman left their home to switch things up and go on the road. They didn't know where they would go, but it's gotta be better than staying home. They switched it up. They switched it up.
And we're back. It's like a time warp happens when we do the whole intro song, which is great. And there's so many new people that have joined us on this incredible journey of RV living on the road and Switch It Up and the community and everything that's been happening. We truly appreciate it. And I guess we should just introduce ourselves because we never introduce ourselves and we've heard this over and over. So I'm your boy Todd, and this is Sheila, my lovely wife. And to give you a brief synopsis, Sheila happens to be kind of the brains, and I am kind of like the creative energy. That's the way I'm going to start spinning this whole thing.
You're also the pretty face, babe.
Yeah, but it is, this video, I know we're joking around right now. We're going to get into some pretty good topics. Being prepared, living on the road. And this is probably not for the part-timers. This is probably for the some-timers, most-timers, and full-timers. Would you categorize that?
I don't know. Things happen out in
Everywhere?
everywhere. Like, and that's, I think, what we want to talk about. I mean, you could be just out for a weekend and then you're met with a devastating fire that breaks out. So I think it's just everybody that's
in the
out
RV
there.
life,
Yeah, everybody that's out there.
That's
I think.
fair.
But I think the first thing we just want to address before we even dive into all of that is just the devastation that has just wrecked across so much of our country. If you guys follow our channel a lot, you'll know that out there, East Tennessee, the West North Carolina, Florida, parts of Virginia, like those are some of our favorite parts of the country. That it is just breathtakingly beautiful. And with this current hurricane that came through, it has devastated so many people there, so many communities, so many lives lost. That area will never be the same again.
No.
And there are years of rebuilding that needs to happen. So first and foremost, we just want to tell you that we are praying for those communities. We are sorry that you are going through this.
It's
if you've
hard.
lost somebody through the storm, man, our hearts are just broken for what is happening out there. It is devastating.
And I think that kind of spurred why we're doing this video out of our normal sequence, because when we come back in a few weeks, you're going to see some of the traveling stuff. And we just felt like we're in a church parking lot, right? And we're getting ready to continue traveling west. And we had phone calls from some friends of ours that were traveling that got caught up in a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, quite honestly, they were kind of not prepared.
They weren't. And so that's one of the things we wanted to talk about. But first, before we get into all of that, I just want to give you guys some ways in which you can help. First and foremost, I think we just need to be praying for those people, praying for the communities out there. Also, I know a lot of us are just like, you just feel so helpless. We want to get in there, we want to help and we have to wait. We have to wait until we get the green light to say these organizations are ready for us. Like, they've got to work on the power and the tree lines, and they need us to just kind of stay back and let them move in and help what they need to do, and then we can come in later.
Because we've been getting the phone calls from a lot of switch crews saying, what do we need to do? What has happened in that area is exactly why we kind of built the RV, and things that we're going to see in the future that we'll be able to use the Switch It Up community to rally into those areas. And now you can kind of put a context on why it's so important to be able to go in for support.
Yeah, so not only our RV, but our app, like all of these little pieces. And unfortunately, it's just the way of the world right now, this isn't going to be the last devastating storm. So maybe we were wondering like, well, what can I do right now? I think right now you can pray, and then there's 3 organizations that I would love for you just to kind of watch their websites. They'll be posting what the needs are, what are the immediate needs are, and some of our favorite organizations are Convoy of Hope, World Vision, and Samaritan's Purse. And they have things on their website to say, hey, these are the supplies we need right now. In fact, we'll be working on that in our give backs that we're going to be integrating. Okay, what supplies they need, how can we help? But then watch their websites for when they're ready for people to come in to help rebuild those communities. There's lots of great organizations out there, but there are also organizations out there that are just out to take advantage of people. So do your research, look at the pages that tell you how to vet a good organization.
And at some point I could use my experience to explain kind of the scammers that come in a storm situation in the future, because there's a lot of things to look out for in that as well. From
your construction world, that was just a real thing. So crew, we are just praying for you guys. We know that there's a lot of you out there, and we'll just rally around you as we can. But in the meantime, we want to talk about, we had some friends that were out that direction. They were headed home.
Yep.
And coming through the area, you know, you got to reroute. You've got to change your plans. You had to cancel.
Well, highways were washed out.
Absolutely. Like, you can't just continue going that direction, and you've got to navigate around. Well, and when they were navigating around.
So you want to talk about what happened in their situation, and then here's the thing is, like, if you've watched our channel for a long time, I'm a little paranoid. Okay.
I don't think you're paranoid.
I think when we first got our RV, you would say that I was like, okay, there's going to be so many topics talked about in this video, from basically what I had to think through to help my paranoia of, do we have enough diesel? How do we pay for things? What happens if I can't see outside? All of these things now are integral parts, and I'm like, oh, well, this really could help everybody in this. So we're going to cover a lot of different little topics to help people as they travel in emergency situations and just traveling situations too.
Absolutely. I mean, you can never be prepared for, I mean, I've seen videos of RVs floating down a new river. I mean, you're not really going to be prepared for that other than to grab and go, right?
Yeah.
But there's many other situations, like our friends, our switch crew that were headed home, they had to reroute, and then they ended up in an area which there was not internet service, so they could get gas only if they had cash.
So that turned into
and they didn't have cash.
Nope, because most of us, and we are guilty of that.
Absolutely.
If you came up and say, hey, can you give me $10? We'd be like, oh, $10. And most of us are this way. We use a card, right? I mean, a card for everything.
I think they had some laundry quarters with them, but that's not going to get you much diesel these days.
To continue down the road.
Yeah. And so cash is something that I think is just wise to. Hard part is you have it and you spend it on, oh, just a couple of bucks here, a couple bucks there. You really need to just have cash that is put aside in the case of an emergency, and you don't touch it for that cup of coffee you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Cash is a king scenario played out. But we're going to talk about another topic on cash towards the end, so you want to hang on to that, because there is something else that can really help you in when things really, really go bad. I'm going to cover that at the end.
Okay, all right. In there having to be rerouted.
Okay.
Let's talk about this situation for still. They found themselves no longer being able to go to a campground. Their campground, they had to reroute. They didn't have reservations. They couldn't find anything. They're boondocking in the middle of like a parking lot. Not prepared for that.
No. The thing is we have heard this over and over and over at our events, and there'll be like boondocking opportunities to come to an event, and they're like, we don't know how to boondock. We've heard so many of you say this, and I'm like, your RVs are set up for boondocking. They have holding tanks, they have black tanks, they have gray tanks, and you're like, well, we don't have a generator because we have pets, of course. Well, you can still buy a small generator. It doesn't even need to be a very big one. That in a scenario where you needed to just charge batteries, those batteries could last you for 10 hours, and then you use the little generator, charge the batteries again. You don't have to have a full solar setup. So you could boondock for 2 and 3 days very easily in your RV. And if you are not knowing how to do that, I implore you, please just learn, because that's what RVs are for. Now, the best thing, and I know we've said it, this and that, if you on your RV, you have regular batteries that come from when you purchased it, or you purchased from one. I just say, if you just get one 100 amp hour lithium ion battery and put that on there, and if you had the gumption to just put 2, you would be very surprised in the boondocking capabilities and not worrying about a generator quite as much in those situations where things kind of get out of hand. Or if you just want to go to a Cracker Barrel parking lot and spend the night and not have a generator running, you have that ability. Every RV should come with lithium batteries, period. They should just get rid of everything else and just stop it, because it's so stupid. So it is absolutely, I am on a high horse now.
You're on a soapbox. The one thing, even if you're caught in a storm though, like we've seen people that their house has been hit and they don't have power in their house, but they can go stay in their RV because they have power, they can have water.
They have a generator, small generator that can hook up to it. Or
solar and batteries. Like even if you are at home and you have a camper, like this can be something that just helps you weather the woe of the storm, and you can invite your neighbors over that don't have power.
And if you don't know how to choose a battery, just call Harrison. He's a small company in Colorado.
He wants to help. He will help you.
Nothing from it. Just like, please. Just get one battery for everything. The best investment you could possibly have. Especially even when you resell the RV, and you don't want to put that, you can keep the battery because it lasts like 10 years and put it in your new RV. Sorry, I am.
Okay, we need to move on for that.
For an emergency situation in daily life, it becomes like electricity becomes like a thing.
Absolutely. Well, because our friends weren't prepared, they lost their refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
And then, yes, they're making their way back to their home base, which is fantastic that they have that. But what if they didn't? Like, what if they were fleeing an area and this, like, you just need to be prepared.
It's peace of mind.
Cash, batteries, solar or generator, like a way to have power, like, and water.
Water. Water is a key component, and doesn't have to be something crazy on your RV. I mean, there's lots of water filtration systems and stuff, but just a way to purify water. And meaning, like, even if you got the tablets, like, you could put water and boil it, because you could have a hot plate because you have a lithium battery, and you could boil your water and put, like, you got to just think outside the box a little bit. Or you could get a 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, and I did a video, pretending what I did in the 𝗵𝗃𝗃 to see if the thing worked. And a 𝗵𝗃𝗃 is fabulous choice to purify water in a tight situation. So
what do we use?
Right, we don't want to talk about what we use. We have this
we don't talk about what we
crazy
use.
System with an RO and all this stuff.
Well, I didn't know what company it was.
𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃.
Okay.
𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 is the company we use for a reverse osmosis system, but you have to have power to use. You see how important
it all comes back to power.
Because from this point forward, having a power source changes everything, because you have the even if you run out of power and the sun comes out and you have one solar panel, it can at least charge the battery so you can continue.
Well, and you're going to, in a situation like that, you're going to want to let your friends and your family know that you're okay. So you need power also to have a Wi-Fi connection, because the cell towers are down. So you need
until they get the cell towers back up.
Right, until the cell towers and that network that's down, you need to be able to. So another reason why I know, like, there's this whole, like, what's the best Wi-Fi? The things floating out in the sky aren't being impacted by the flood.
Yeah, Elon sent hundreds of dishes into the infected areas and just put them open, and so they could just fire them up, boom, have instant internet. If you're looking at internet choices, we talk about routers and all that. I think at this point, Starlink is probably the furthest ahead in a lot of different situations. But you know what you need? Electricity. Okay, you can get a little generator to bypass that, but I'm just saying.
It's coming back around. Okay, our sweet friends that were needing cash to get gas, what if they would have had some extra fuel?
Yes.
On board with them? We've seen that work out in several areas as well.
There's a little caveat to that. How did they get cash? You're gonna love this. How did they get cash? Because there was no ATMs, there was nothing in the gas station said, hey, you know, we're only accepting cash. How did they get it?
Well, because the RV community is just an amazing community. There was another RVer that came in that had cash that they were able to write them a paper check and give that to that RVer. And I just think that that's fabulous because it just shows the heart of our RV community and people just wanting to help each other.
Here's the thing there, though. You got to have a paper check. I couldn't tell you where our checkbook is. Most of you, I know, probably don't have a checkbook floating around. So caveat to them to have a checkbook to write a check.
Yeah, I guess we don't have cash. You better have a checkbook.
And some RV friends.
And somebody that'll take a check, right?
So that was pretty cool. So fuel. Ever since we started, you have to keep in mind, when we started, we were coming towards the end of the crazy pandemic world, right? Everywhere I was like, what happens if we get so far away and I just want to get home? And I was telling Sheila, I was like, I'm really paranoid.
Just want to get home to our kids, right?
And this will tie into a component here at the end of the video. And you'll see kind of now a linking here. But fuel became like the big thing. So when we got our truck, we got a 50-gallon diesel, tank on our Ram 3500. I didn't want anything smaller, 50. And if I could have found something bigger, I would have probably installed it. I know that I think they make a 60, but anyway, because mileage to get to your family and friends was key to me. And if I'm on the East Coast in Florida or whatever, I want to make friendships and relationships along the way. That's why the Switch crew is so important.
Yes.
And having a community is so important. And if you download the app, you'll see Switch crew across
our people.
And you can message them directly in the app. So community is key in a lot of areas. So then we were at an event, and Andy was there, and I'm walking by his truck, and he had there is actually a toolbox / fuel tank that are merged together in the back. He had in the back of his truck. It
was very cool looking.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that existed, because a lot of those, they put you'll see construction workers put a big diesel tank back there and then they can pump in, and I never liked that look. But this seemed very doable, and he says it was already linked to his fuel tank.
And it's dual purpose, it's still a toolbox.
I don't know the name of that company. I'll look to see if I can find it in the video when we shot, and if I have it, you're going to be seeing it. Okay, I just saw this as we pulled in. This is a custom 50-gallon transfer tank for diesel, and then he put a toolbox on top.
Yeah, so right down in there's a little bitty fuel pump. It's under, you can't really see it. It's covered up underneath an aluminum hatch right there.
Okay.
And it comes down and it hits the vent line that feeds your fuel tank.
Yeah.
And then it goes inside and it's got a little computer module, and it monitors your fuel level. So when you get to 3/4 of a tank, it kicks that pump on and fills your truck back up and shuts back off. And so it'll just sit there and continually refill your truck tank until it runs empty.
So how much was that? I got it.
This one custom made, and then I got the bed liner coating on and everything else installed, because I went down to Fort Worth and had it installed. I think I was in it for $2,400.
I like that idea.
Now, between that and the truck
do you have a 50-gallon tank?
Yep. So between that and the truck tank, I carry 100 gallons of diesel, and like I said, it automatically refills the truck. So
can you
I
imagine?
don't have to mess with it. Yeah.
But fuel is king. Now, yes, we have an HDT truck. Everyone's like, the HDT truck is for us, the truck, everyone's idea of it is massive, it's big, and you're seeing the HDT community, more people buying them. But in my mind, it's peace of mind because it's 200 gallons of diesel.
And if we needed to, and depending upon where we're at, if I need to get to my family, I can drop this rig and we can just take the truck and get there, because
the gas mileage goes way up, right?
Absolutely.
And it's got 2 beds in it. It's got water. We've got gray tank.
Take our essentials with us. And speaking of essentials, what would be the things that you would want to grab?
Oh boy.
Because we could take our essentials, we could take a bug out bag, throw it in the truck, drop the rig, and we could get home.
We could get out. Yeah. Come back to the diesel or the HDT for a second. HDT trucks, you can find them all day long. If you're ever thinking about going this way, and this is a concern of yours, this might be a solution, you can find them on Facebook already modified from many different people for around that $70,000 to $80,000 range. So it's going to be less than your F450. So if this is something that you are concerned with, this may be an option. Great question. Sheila's like, drop the rig and you need a boogie in a bigger scenario. This is really, at this point of the video, you're gonna really find out Todd's like maybe a little paranoia things. Some things are good.
Is it paranoia or is it just being prepared?
I'm hoping. I'm hoping this is I'm hoping this will be educational. Okay.
Okay.
I hesitate to share this. I've been wanting to do this video for so long.
Oh boy.
But here we go.
I don't even know. What are you getting ready to say?
Well, no, just all of the things that we're getting ready from this point is going to kind of, people you may suggest this like, okay.
I just think it's smart. I mean, there's pieces of it.
I appreciate that.
They just think it's smart, like just to be prepared.
Okay.
Why are you having coffee right now?
I don't know. Thirsty. In our RV, I'm going to show you a couple things that we have. Now, this is not a safe bag. Kind of is. It's basically a fireproof bag, right? So in a fireproof bag, it does have Velcro, and it has a latch that's on top so you can lock, but we all know that this lock really isn't worth anything, but I guess it gives you some sort of peace of mind. And then you can see, I'm not going to show you everything in the bag, but you can see that it has this. Now, it's not going to be a bag that's going to last like when an RV burns down. It's one of those things where I don't think it would last through a whole fire. I can't remember the exact rating on it, but for us, it was more or less a security measure that we could grab it in a situation and just run out the door. So things like passport, all of the essential things that you really need, because we've lived in Kansas forever, we know that if we're gonna have a wonderful storm event and a tornado's coming, you really need to grab the essentials and just run. Yep. Get to the car, because if a tornado does come, this is gone, and all of the things that were in here are gone. Pictures, whatever, but you need to still have some sort of an identity. You might have your wallet in you or with you, and you'll take it with you, but most of the time you might need your passports. You might need some of the things that we're going to talk about that are in a bag, and it will just really help you in a situation. So we believe not just like a fireproof safe, something that could be mobile and you take with you in an essential situation.
Absolutely.
You want to add to that?
You just have to think, like, if you don't have any way to prove who you are, how are you going to even, like the banks, like small town banks, used to, I could go in the bank and they know me. That's not the case in most places right now.
Correct. Yeah, it is absolutely kind of a crazy scenario. I'm thinking a fireproof bag that can double as a like small go bag for important documents is kind of like a must, and we keep it with us.
It's within reach. Within reach, in case we need to go. Mm-hmm. And then there, you know, we also have another bag like that's just got some one overnight essentials. You know what else we didn't talk about though?
What?
Here you are, stranded. Right now there's people stranded. The people can't get to them yet. Mm-hmm. And they can't get out because the roads are washed away or there's trees, power lines down. You need some food. We talked about water.
I know. So for a long time when we hit the road, Sheila's like, why are you bringing these? And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, we don't know what we're going out. Like, we're coming to the end of the pandemic. We haven't traveled all over the United States. We don't know the people we're going to encounter. We don't know the political environment. We don't know if there's going to be like protests shutting down. We ran into this huge protest in New York City that they just took over everything. And it was kind of intimidating, honestly. Food became like, well, okay, we need a 30-day food supply. Minimum, and we ended up getting like 60-day food supply. This video, like, we reached out because Patriot Supply is like, it's not a sponsored video by any means on that aspect, but that's what we saw a lot going on, And I was like, okay.
Because I wanted it needed to be
small.
And it needed to be packaged here in the United States, because if you have to wait for something to come in off of a boat, well, we've known many times that the cargo ships are stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and that is not getting to us. So it needed to be made here, produced here, so we could get it.
Yeah. So food has become primarily a big thing. So we do have basically 60-day food supply. And if you look at those packages, a lot of it's rice and then prepackaged things. At that point, it doesn't matter.
When you're hungry, you're hungry.
You're hungry.
Yep.
And then you also, you're not good. We saw in the pandemic, grocery stores were flooded in. People took everything in fear. You don't necessarily always want to be in the situation where people are going in. And if you're in a strong storm scenario, you already know there's nothing on the shelves.
Yeah, so we recommend the food food from 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗃𝗃 Supply.
That's what we use. So.
Yep, and just think that it's just another way to be prepared. And this video isn't about like, oh gosh, be fearful, gloom and doom. No, it's that there are always going to be situations, from pandemics to riots, threats of war, tornadoes, fire, hurricanes. Like, you just don't know, and you are responsible for taking care of yourself and your family.
No, that's true.
Another way to take care of yourself and your family, though, and this is going to be a controversial topic, but how do you protect yourself?
Yeah, and we can't, in YouTube world, we are not you cannot use certain words because you get flagged, or they become, I don't know, I just won't go down that road.
Yeah, please don't.
So you can't say certain things. And AI is so good, you can't even make certain hand gestures because they could still portray it as such. But I'm just...
You're in a rabbit hole.
It's true. This is true. And so we're just going to say self-defense mechanisms, and we do have that. The problem with those mechanisms is mentally you have to be prepared to use said thing. And a lot of times I'm not sure. I'm prepared to defend us, but it's really hard thing for me to use, to think about using all the time. But we do have it, and we do. I mean, for years I've gone hunting and all that stuff, and using one is not a situational thing for me. It's not a big deal, but there becomes a lot of thought process. And then we did a video, Clay and Maria.
Our Road Less Traveled.
Yes, thank you. Our Road Less Traveled. Sorry, Clay. He did a wonderful video about a non-lethal self-defense thing, and it was, I'd never seen one before, and I will see if I can try to find that, and that might be an alternative for you to have. And in that self-defense as well, if you have power, you can also, I call it lockdown mode at night, when we pull all of our blinds, you're inside, but you can't see anything outside. If you ended up getting like a camera from Amazon and are able to put it on the outside of your RV, that can tie into your home Wi-Fi or your Wi-Fi inside your RV. This gives you eyes outside, and it also gives you eyes on your RV when you leave. And you can kind of monitor the stuff around it. So you know that when you're coming back, if somebody kind of looted the whole thing and took everything, well, you don't want to ever come back to it. You just would leave it. I know that seems like a really worst case scenario, but those things are kind of important.
It might be a worst case scenario, but when people are in stress mode and when they're in panic and devastation happens, and sometimes people just don't know what to do, they just act out of fear. And you need to be prepared for those situations, to be prepared to protect yourself.
Yeah. We don't talk about that stuff quite as much. We are more about how do we prepare ourselves, and then if we are prepared, you can help others.
Absolutely.
So
because then you're not in panic mode.
Yeah. Just like the people that helped our friends, they were prepared with cash, so they were also prepared then to help someone else, which was another amazing part of that story that kind of gets glossed over. And that's why I think we were thinking about this video and being able to share.
Yep, helping others, bringing people together, helping others, and just being an amazing RV community is because then our goal is hopefully that we can take this amazing RV community that is prepared, not panicked, not fear-stricken, and we can take them into communities where we can really make an impact and help other people.
Yeah, no, that's true. Can I get on a little bit of a high horse for a second?
Well, you've been on 2. You got one more horse?
Yeah, I got this is a pretty good one.
Another horse.
No, it's not a good one, but it is something simple. You're seeing right now a lot of people looking at the rapid radios. We have these radios. They're called rapid radios. They're on Facebook ads. They're everywhere, and they are saying and they're posting a lot now because of the crisis that's happened from the hurricanes. I need you to really listen to me on this, okay? The radios are fabulous, but capital B, capital U, capital T, you have to have cell phone service. The radios work on the old system that we used to, some of you have never heard of. It was the Nextel system, which was direct connect, and you'd hit a button like a walkie-talkie, and it would, we could direct connect to somebody down in Florida. It's fabulous, but you have to have cell phone service. We have these radios. They did not work in the OBX. They did not work in the mountains of West Virginia. They did not, because there was no cell phone service. So if you have a catastrophe event and you buy these radios thinking that, oh, we're going to use these because they'll be better than walkie-talkies, there's no cell phone service.
Still need a cell phone tower.
Now, in daily life, communicating with your kids, and you're both in metros that have great cell service, or Sheila and I use them traveling down the road to talk to each other, they're fabulous until you get into a mountainous range and there's no cell phone. So please do not really take that into consideration if you've been seeing the ads. I love them, but yet there has to be somebody talking about the other side of it.
Yeah.
And nobody is talking
It's not like if you're getting it thinking it's 100% fail-proof that you're going to always be able to be in communication with somebody, it's not.
Sorry, Rapid Radios.
Yeah.
I mean, I have not left a review, but I'm just telling you, this has been our experience. Sorry, that was a little bit of a...
That was a pony.
Well, yeah, it was a pony, but
horse.
because I do love them. But people need to be
use
aware.
them.
They need to be aware that if you're stuck in a catastrophe situation, I don't believe they're going to be help for you. Because
I do want to get more of them and leave one with each of the families that...
Like Allison's in Houston, and Houston has had all kinds of flooding, and then they'll have something happen, or they lose electricity, and just being able to try to communicate with the children and try to help her navigate out of a situation is peace of mind for us. So that's the reason we love that, and we think that was a great choice, but there are some caveats to it. Okay, I'm sorry, I completely derailed, but communication is key in that scenario.
Absolutely. I think it's about that though, like it was just, there's been weeks where, going back to the rapid radios for a second, there's been weeks where one particular network was down. I was down. There's nothing worse than that feeling when I wasn't with you. I couldn't call anybody. Being able to communicate with people is key. Had I known and thought of it at that moment, would have been for, we should always carry our rapid radios. Just because one network was down, it would still work.
Yes, because the radios do operate on all these different networks, right? So keys to communication, like give you an example. Just recently, all the Verizon network went down across the United States. Well, T-Mobile was working, but they were affected in areas too. So having multiple chains of communication are key. Yeah. We have rapid radios. We also have an extended, just normal walkie-talkie.
It's like a 2-mile radius.
So people are
right?
going to be sitting there, it's like, why wouldn't I just use my cell phone anyway? Well, the fact is like, depends on your network, could be down. So you might not be part of whatever communication, even if the other person. So, I mean, you have to have multiple key sources.
Speaking of that, though, I'm wondering how many of you have a satellite phone, have used that? Like, I'd love to hear other ways that people stay in communication, because maybe a satellite phone is the point where, Can
I tell you one of the best ways to communicate, honestly, that people always overestimate, and it's going to
overestimate?
When they underestimate, sorry, is Facebook Messenger. For whatever reason, if you have, let's say, Starlink, and you're in a crisis situation and everything is down, Facebook Messenger is fast. You can do phone calls on it. I mean, I know it's old school technology to younger people, but the fact is that the use of Facebook Messenger is
because
really,
you're tied
really good.
into, if you're tied into Elon.
Yep.
Not,
and you have power.
right.
So these are things to consider as a backup communication source. I know I think through
Maybe
a lot of weird
when
things.
we should, but I'm thinking when we go on hikes, we should probably leave a rapid radio with somebody just in case we could. We
Yeah,
need
absolutely,
help.
because the distance is irrelevant.
Yeah, the distance is.
The only thing
yeah.
is network.
Yep.
Sorry, still on the radio thing. I think I would overarch that as just communication during an event of some sort.
All right, your last high horse.
Okay, power's down. You're like our friend. They're trying to get diesel. And when we first left and we were in our Ram 3500 in our Momentum, I started thinking, as like, what do? We can't get money, or they will not accept cash. This was like the ultimate problem, right? You're somewhere and they're like, yeah, we don't want cash.
And they can't take card.
And they can't take a card. I mean, we're in some pretty crazy times right now with some turmoil in even our financial structure of things. And I don't want to debate that. I don't want to make this some sort of like crazy video with comments down on the bottom and talking about political stances. This is not what this is about. This is about you. This is about how you can protect yourself or be prepared or do all those things in a lot of different situations. Traveling an RV, or just like Sheila said, being at home, having your RV outside because you need to use it and you're in this situation. So this became very, very, very key. How do I go up to a farmer to get diesel? Or how do I approach somebody to find a way? If I need one more tank to get back and I'm looking for sources. And like, yeah, we don't want cash. They're not gonna take cash down the road. I have nothing to barter with. The stuff's down. So my mind started spinning. And some of you are gonna think this is, okay, Todd, you're really taking this to the edge. But really, coins, not just normal coins. So there's two things. We don't care. We're not like these crazy preppers or anything, but the fact is that you have to find a way that what has value. And right now, we all know gold and silver are value.
And they will always have value.
And they will always have value.
I mean, they've had value since biblical days, beginning of the time.
I told Sheila before we left to start our RV adventure, I said, can we just buy some silver coins? And it's not like we have a lot, okay? I think there's like 30 or so in this little canister. We keep them just in the RV, right? I have been fearful to share things because of that, and this could really help somebody. And this is not a life-changing thing, you know. So
we're about helping people.
Right. So I went on before we left and I found like the cheapest silver coin that I could find. It's a 1 ounce silver coin, right? And honestly, I didn't even know who it was from. This is actually a Canada coin. I didn't even know it was Canada. And it's a 1 ounce silver coin. I don't care that I'm not touching it with white gloves. For me, this is a tangible asset that I can provide somebody. And right now, when I bought it, it was $24, $50, $25 a coin. Now they're close to 30, I don't even look at the current price, $30, $35 a coin. So for me, now it comes to a situation, it's like, listen, I know you're not take cash.
Or you're out of cash.
Or you're out of cash. Yeah, like even if I'm out of cash, I was like, listen, like I don't have a checkbook. This is a prime example. I don't have a checkbook. I know you could give me some cash to get diesel. Listen, I got 2 coins. They're $35 each right now, $70. Would you take this? And so that's a prime example. I mean, even in a no checkbook scenario, you have something to barter with. And I looked at these as an opportunity to have something to barter with to get home or to a safe zone. This right here becomes like a tool. This is not an investment plan for us. All this is a peace of mind thing. And you're like, okay, you got like, I don't know, maybe $900 here, whatever, in just coins, Todd. That's great. But then my mind is also thinking, is like, okay, I don't need to go crazy, but what if I needed to get something just a little more of value, and it has to be small enough that I can take and then I can also barter with. So we actually just got a few, not a ton, and these are just 1/10 of an ounce gold coins. And if you know right now
They
the price,
look like
they're tiny. They're smaller than a dime, actually.
smaller than the dime, but very thin.
Very thin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling you where to go buy stuff. I don't want to give any kind of advice that way. I'm just saying a tangible
Options.
thing. Gold right now is now hit an all-time high at $2,400 an ounce. So each one of these coins, if you think about it, is $240, right? So that is another tangible asset that you can use for bartering. And that could be bartering for food. That could be bartering for, it's a tangible thing versus using cash. Because in my mind, what if people don't want cash? What do I have to offer?
There was a time, I mean, you guys remember, like, just a couple of years ago, you'd go into a store and be like, we don't take cash. Not taking cash, not taking cash, not in cash. I'm like, yeah, but it was because I guess our germs were on the cash. I don't know why we weren't taking cash. We
or
just
they weren't, yeah, no cash and no coins.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't even, yeah.
But then there was a giant coin shortage. And then, so it's like, oh my goodness, like there's just so many situations we just don't know. So you do the best that you can to prepare for all the uncertainties. Things happen, fires happen, storms happen, being stranded happens, like pandemics happen. Sometimes the world goes crazy, and we just need to do our best to be able to be prepared, to not panic, to have a strong community that we can rally together, we can help each other, and we can come together, and then together we can really weather whatever comes our way, and we can be united to help other people.
Again, if you're prepared, you can help others.
Yeah.
But if you're in panic mode, somebody has to help you, and those are generally the ones that are a little more prepared. And we didn't want to make this like a crazy video on, I don't know, this is like the video I've been wanting to make.
Gloom and doom.
It's
not gloom and doom.
For like 2 years I've wanted to make this video, and because of the current events and things, and then when our friends went through what they just did, I was like, Sheila, this is why, this is what we need to talk about. So,
well, one of the things we probably need to do, and maybe we can do that at the United Rally, is we probably ought to do, like, let's just help people understand how to boondock. Like, you get an RV, but if you're always going to state parks, national parks, or RV parks where you have water and electricity at least, let's just help people figure out how but take these as just suggestions.
Yeah.
They're what we do so that we can be prepared, but we would just love for you to.
And if you have other ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want the comment section, I want them to be respectful. I know that there's going to be some people with some strong political views, ideas of where we are. I don't care. What I care about is if you're in a situation and you need to be prepared for something, that you have some peace of mind for your family.
But I mean, politically, we do care.
Yes, but
the most thing that we care about, though, is that you utilize. I have a friend, she just became a U.S. citizen, and this is the first time that she's able to vote. And she is so excited. And I wish that we could bottle that excitement and just share it with all the American people. Just get registered, do your due diligence, and go vote. Like, make your voice heard. That's what we do care about. Because it is something, she's so excited. I wish we were all so excited to realize what an absolute honor and privilege it is to vote and have your voice be heard.
It took her 10 years, though.
It did. But I'm excited for her.
All right, hopefully we're going to wrap this up, and I know it's not our normal content because we're always going on adventures and going to see what amazing places in America, and the spirit of the people, and meeting Switch Crew, meeting you on the road. And we're going to finish the year strong this year, and we have some amazing things planned for next year. And we have this, we have a rally. If you're ever interested in any of our events, just go to our website, GoSwitchItUp.com. We'd love to see you down the road.
Or download the app. All of our events, all of our videos, and our crew are on there, and it's just a great way to be connected.
And if you're on the app, you also have people that have a commonality and connection that you could reach out to in a situation where you may not know anyone around. Switch Crew is always there to support.
Yep.
So it is an amazing tool, and just wait to see what this is going to be used for in the upcoming 12 months.
Absolutely. We hope that this was helpful for you. We want you to stay safe, be prepared, take care of yourself and just be praying for just the devastation that's going on in our world and our communities today. But as always, we just want you to know that we love you, we care about you, and we just want to bring us together to help other people.
And God's always in control.
Absolutely.
So with all that being said, Sheila, until our next video, we are